Hey everybody, Dr. Marley. It's time for tip number one. So we're going to be giving some tips and tricks to make sure that you stay as healthy and strong as possible. Full disclosure, we're not trying to treat COVID. We're not even trying to prevent COVID. We just want you guys to stay as healthy as possible. We want to make sure that we have a healthy, strong, robust immune system. So you probably guessed it from the email. Supplement number one, or the first recommendation, is vitamin C. Why would we tell you to take vitamin C? Why would your grandma tell you to take vitamin C, especially when we're fighting a cold, a flu, or any other type of virus? The reason being is vitamin C is actually a very strong antioxidant. All you need to know is antioxidants actually neutralize something called free radicals or reactive oxygen species. Now, what happens is these compounds actually kind of scavenge throughout the body, and they can wreak havoc on different cellular structures, and they can cause dysfunction and damage to our actual cells. So what we want to do is we want to neutralize that process, and one of the ways that we can effectively do that is just taking high amounts of antioxidants. Now, because it has an antioxidant effect, vitamin C is also going to have an anti-inflammatory effect. Now, when we look at the current health crisis and we look at the individuals that are really struggling with this COVID problem, it's because of the cytokine storm that we hear about. That's an inflammatory problem. So if we can actually prevent that, limit that, we want to do that, and we know that antioxidants could potentially help us with that. The other thing is vitamin C can actually be a pretty good detoxification agent. So if we know that our toxic load is high, vitamin C can help us rid some of those toxins. It can also help create more of an alkaline pH within the body, which is less favorable for many different viruses, bacteria, etc. It's an important cofactor in many reactions within the body involving the immune system, and it's very, very important in our phagocytic process, or our innate immune response. So our very first line of defense when we come in contact with something, we have different immune cells that fall under the broad category of phagocytes, and they actually gobble things up, take them away, kind of like Pac-Man. And vitamin C is really, really important for that process. Now, we know vitamin C is absolutely vital for proper immune function, and that's why they've actually, in certain areas of the world, have been treating people with COVID with high doses of IV vitamin C, and actually have been getting pretty good results. So we got to keep in mind that vitamin C is very important for proper immune function. Obviously, we recommend that you get a lot of that from your food, but if we need to supplement with it, if you know that you're going to be coming in contact with individuals who are sick, or maybe you have a compromised immune system yourself, let's make sure that we're supplementing with anywhere from 1 to 2 grams or 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day. It's a water-soluble vitamin, so your body effectively gets rid of it if we actually take too much. So vitamin C is the first tip. The second tip is actually a compound called quercetin. It's a flavonoid that you're going to find in many fruits and vegetables, things like grapes, berries, cherries, apples, all of the good stuff that we're supposed to be eating, right? Once again, quercetin is anti-inflammatory. It's an antioxidant. It can function as an antihistamine, so you're going to see it in a lot of um, allergy remedies. Natural remedies for allergies are going to have quercetin in them. It's antibacterial and it is antiviral. They've done studies looking at quercetin being effective in actually neutralizing influenza-like illnesses, and show that it can have a broad range effect on influenza infections. And in fact, if we actually have adequate amounts of quercetin in the body before we even come in contact with the virus, that's going to serve us even better according to these studies. Once again, quercetin is something that is actively right now being looked at as a treatment and a preventative measure for COVID. And hopefully we put that link in here so you can actually see that. But what they're doing is they're taking two different groups of people. They're taking a group that doesn't have COVID, and they're giving them kind of a preventative dose, 500 milligrams a day, seeing if it has an effect and keeps them from actually contracting the virus. And then they're taking a subset of the population that does have COVID, giving them a higher dose, 1,000 milligrams a day, and seeing if it actually helps in their healing process and limits complications due to COVID. So I do recommend that if we're weak with our immune response, if you know that you're potentially immunocompromised, I recommend taking vitamin C and potentially taking quercetin for a short period of time. I wouldn't take it for a long duration, only a couple months. The cool thing about quercetin is also going to help with vitamin C absorption. Pretty cool how Mother Nature naturally packages these things together. So if you don't have a well-balanced, rounded diet, consider supplementing with vitamin C and quercetin. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Other than that, we'll see you tomorrow for tip number 2.